You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo!
My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday. I am your host, Angela Smarito, and in studio with me we have our co-host, Melissa Jacob.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, you got it really good.
Warm applause.
I know. That was a great one. We're going to keep that one. But Melissa's business is Striking Brand. But if you go to baadradio.com, that's BAAD radio.com, you can see all the previous episodes of the show on there. And if you go to strikingbrand.com, you can see Melissa's other work because she is a photographer as well as a videographer.
She's telling the truth.
I am. And back in studio with us today, please join me in welcoming Derrick Brantley with Imbalance Body Works. I said it right.
You did.
I know my autocorrect messes me up because when I write imbalance, it wants to change it to something else. And if I don't, last time I didn't catch it. But our producer guy over here fixed it for me. I don't know if you noticed that when we aired the show. It didn't. You couldn't even tell that I said it wrong.
No big deal.
You got to get closer to the mic there. So how are you doing, Derrick?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Excited to have you back again. Can you believe it's already New Year?
No, it's going by fast.
February already.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but for me, January took forever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I was talking with a friend and I was like, I went to Universal for my birthday in January and they were like, Angela, it's still January. And this was like last week. I was like, oh my gosh. But yes, welcome February 1st, and it's leap year too. So we get an extra whole day. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we actually have a 29th this
All
month.
right. I always wonder the people who were born on the 29th.
I don't know
if that's cool or not cool.
I have a friend that is. He
Yeah?
says he's celebrating his 7th birthday next month. Or he's
but
technically 7.
Do you
Really,
think
it's like
would
30.
you
Oh,
celebrate
got
your
it.
birthday on the 28th or the 1st?
I don't know. I think he does the first.
I know. I
Yeah.
would do the 28th just because
Yeah.
I'd want it sooner than later.
Just pick a whole random other day of the year.
Right. What else are you gonna do?
My day's gone, so I'm picking.
Oh, well, like I said, Derrick's been on the show before. And so before we totally jump into everything, let's do like a little bit of a background on Imbalance Body Works. So like I said, let's talk about what it is and how it got started.
Oh, that's quite a long story. I don't know how much
I know.
time we
Give
have.
us
But
We
Cliff
have
notes.
the
Cliff Notes. Okay,
Let's
yeah,
just
I like that.
warm in. Give people general.
Yeah, my background's in rehab. I went to massage school. They said this is not a spa, so I got hired. And there's PT, chiro, car accident cases, most people that I saw. So I took medical massage, cupping, and things like that, and it worked. But I found this new technique that I do. It's actually out of Canada. My teachers came down. I took the class. I'm like, this sounds like exactly what I should be doing. And I had clients come in, hey, I learned this new thing. Let's try it. You can keep your clothes on. It's not like a traditional
Right.
massage. I work over clothes, and people started getting better. And then the people started noticing. The front desk pulled me aside. We have a problem. You're booked. Like, people cancel when I wasn't there. I was the only one people wanted to see. And that's unusual being a male massage therapist. You know, I was the only one, but people lining outside the door. So I started taking the class again. People started getting better. So then learning how to run my own business. And
That's
get
the
this
hard
note.
part. It's like you
Yep.
can be really good at something, and
Oh,
then you
yeah.
got to take that and like manage your own business, and then there's the whole another world of like
Oh, yeah.
taxes and EIN numbers and all the things.
All the not fun stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's my coach. I have a business coach, and he was helping me. He told me, like, just because you're a master chef doesn't mean you can run a restaurant. So it's
Yeah.
like, it doesn't matter how good you are. You know, you need to learn how to.
What made you decide to get a business coach?
He's actually a client. He reached out to me, and I was obviously struggling, and he said, I know you're struggling. You know, and he's someone
When you say
always
struggling, you're talking about with the business. Right.
business, kind of winging it, not knowing how to really run the business, not having anyone to really mentor me. And
Right.
he's someone that suffers with chronic pain, and he would go to a massage therapist, and then they would go out of business after a while because they didn't really know what they're doing. So he's like, he kind of told me, I'm helping you in part for selfish reasons, but
That's what I was gonna say.
There's
But
nothing wrong with that, though.
I'm okay. Like,
Yeah.
you're helping me, and we kinda, once a month we get together and, you know, just get dinner and talk, or every couple months I'll take notes and I go over things, bounce ideas off each other. So he kind of, the first, he gave me some books to read. And he's like, I want this read before our next meeting. Just
Ooh,
to
I like
kinda-
that. He's like, do
Homework.
this.
Yeah, homework. And he said he vets people. He's like, I'm not going to waste my time if you're going to argue with me. You know, he's
Do you want to share his name?
You're more than welcome to give him plugs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's looking for new clients right now. He works in sales. He had his own business for a while. He works in sales, but he teaches business, and he says he'll vet them, like have them call me. So he had me read the E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Well, I was about to ask you what the books were.
Yeah, the E-Myth is kind of the Bible for business. It goes over the mindset, the entrepreneur, the technician, and the manager. So it's just different, personalities to a business.
How old is that book?
Published in the 80s, and it came back again. Like the revisited is the new version. It came out maybe 10 years. I've actually given away like 50 copies.
Oh, really?
I give it away to people like, hey, please read this book. I'm saving you time. It's like my giving back because it helped me so much.
Right.
So like I know I'm a good therapist. I'm always learning how to be better, but I know I am not there are people who are the Michael Jordan of the industry. They can come work for me. I'm the business, and I want this business to be here when I'm gone.
Right.
People like, oh my gosh, what are you going to do if you move or if you retire? Most people close their doors. Like, no, I'll sell the business, and the business will be there. You'll have somewhere to go.
Right. Yeah. You know what? I never really thought about that. It's like you get your clientele, and then if you shut the doors and they're relying on you, then you know what? They're SOL.
I really am interested in being a business coach. I mean, I'm a good therapist, but I think I'm a better businessman, and I'd want to be a business coach for health and wellness people like me. Like, hey, like I can help you, whether you're a massage, acupuncture, something like that.
So you were struggling before with the business aspect, but now you feel a lot stronger. Is that just through working with the business coach? Working
with the business coach, having experience and knowing what works and what doesn't work. Like, hey, like I can help you build your business. I know what works, and don't do this instead. Like, hey, like this costs me a lot of money. Don't do that.
Well, that's always a good thing to make sure. So what do you think that was like holding you back? Was it like organization, scheduling? I meant marketing. What were the things that you felt like that the coach helped you work on?
I think mindset.
Okay.
A lot of people, he told me you're a technician. And like that's the kind of the mindset, that the employee mindset, because a lot of people don't build a business, they build a job. How many people that have a business are the solopreneur? They're the only person in their business. If they stop showing up, then their business would stop because they don't have a business.
I know in B&I there's a lot of single people, but the ones that I see that are successful are happy being that single. They don't want to deal with anybody else and anybody else's BS and all the things, so
it's okay, but you get to a certain point where you're at capacity, and I know a few people like that where you can't take on any more business, and when you're booked months out, then you need to start referring out to somebody else because you no longer have that. You're at capacity. You can't.
It's limiting,
right? You have two hands.
Yeah.
But some people I guess it just depends on the business and like how much revenue and all that stuff. But some people just find that sweet spot where they are charging the right amount for their services and they can do it by themselves and then don't need to worry about, because then when you bring on employees, it's a whole nother thing. Now you're like managing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
See, I feel more comfortable in that position where it's like I go out, I find the business, I bring the business in, I close the business, and then I pass it over to somebody else to do all,
do the things,
do the stuff to put it together.
Usually, yeah.
And then I go move on to the next. And so that's my comfort zone.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I had a client just before I came in today. She lives here in Maitland, and she wanted to ask if I would go to Maitland instead of being like, man, it's like, it's only like 3 exits, but they want convenience. I'd want to build multiple locations, but I have people that I've helped that do what I do that live in other states, and they're okay with having the 40, 50 clients a week and then to get full. And that's okay. Like I can help you get to that point. Just know that you can't sell it because nobody wants to buy a job. And when you close your doors, you're going to close your doors.
Right. Nobody wants to buy a job. That's actually really interesting. That's a very valid point.
Especially if you didn't start it, because if the people who started it, that's like their passion usually. So coming into a business that's not even your baby.
Well, because it's the commodity versus the product. This is all, I'm just quoting E-Myth.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at the business as the product, not what you're selling. So if I sell a commodity, which is the commodity is what you're getting, the product is how you feel. So if I say a popular product, a business, if I say fast food, the first business that comes to your mind is
McDonald's.
If I say search engines, you say
Google.
Oh, that's so funny. I saw.
What'd you say?
Electric
Tesla?
cars, right? So these businesses understand that they are the product,
right?
So that's
crazy. They're killing it for us to just be like easy. That's a
the
top
funny
one.
thing was the first thing I thought was Yahoo, and I'm like, that's
really?
old.
Well, they actually the term Google it.
Right,
like
hold that thought. We're gonna go to a break. So everybody, stay tuned for more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore. It is cold out there, so time to cuddle up with your loved one, but first, a trip to Premier Couple Superstore. They have got a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. With Premier Couple Superstore, you don't pay those high prices because you go directly to the source. 5009 South OBT, or shop online at premiercouples.net, because a couple that plays together stays together. Beautiful, beautiful. I love the fact that I gave myself a big right in the middle of that live read.
Hot.
That's so sexy. These are things that I notice now that I never used to notice before, and like because of the whole spoken word and when you're talking and how people pronounce things and everything. So, all right, so we're here with Derrick Brantley, and we were talking about Imbalanced Body Works, and we started to talk about the product. And I want to go back to what we were talking about because you mentioned search engine. I thought Yahoo, she said Google, but like I said, Google is the most common thought of. And you're saying it's actually become a verb. So your goal is to kind of get that into the mindset of Central Florida.
Right. Just to have, when someone has pain, they come to me, they think of Imbalanced Bodywork. And traditional Western medicine has its place, but a lot of doctors don't have the training on musculoskeletal pathology. I've had a lot of people come to me and say, yeah, doctor, just dismiss him, that's back pain. They'll send him to PT, they'll send him to chiro, which is great, but someone with plantar fasciitis, I mean, I have a 95% success rate that I fix it. I never see them again, and people are getting injections and they're getting surgeries.
What is that ailment?
That's pain on the bottom of the foot. It's just inflammation of the plantar fascia, but a lot of it is just restrictions in the calf and hamstring that pulls on the foot.
Gotcha.
So it's just, there's a lot of complicated neuroscience behind what I do, but I just turn off pain receptors to the nervous system. I do it over clothes. It's like a dig and drag technique over bones, so it works. I get people well, and the ones I can't cure, I can at least help treat their symptoms.
Well, you mentioned it's rehabilitation massage services, but it's not really massage. Do you use the word massage at all in your description of your business?
I'm technically a massage therapist by license.
Right.
People call me, they say, hey, Dr. Brantley. I'm not a doctor, but thanks. I
appreciate that.
Yeah, I have more in common with a PT than I do a massage therapist, but my license is technically massage. I tell people I'm like a hybrid. I don't give exercises. I don't do exercise, strengthening, anything like that. I do all soft tissue manipulation.
So that's the main difference from traditional massage to
what I do.
What you do.
Manual therapy. Body work. There's a lot of lines in the sand. When people say they do this, they do that. They're not, like, you're not going to go to, said spa, said franchise spa and
like
get what I do.
I can see the difference between like because you can get different kind of massages, like, obviously. Like you could get that relaxing, just kind of, or the deep tissue one. What is like the big difference between like a deep tissue massage and what you do? Because that seems a little bit closer. Like the spa kind of massage is an obvious difference.
I can pick on my own industry a little bit and say that the moment that the lotion comes out, the therapy stops.
Okay, explain.
Meaning that it's no longer clinical, it's more feel good. I love a great deep tissue massage. I love getting massages. I'm more than happy to refer to massage. I get asked at least once a month, but we have that discussion in class. It's when the lotion comes out, it's no longer therapy. They're just trying to make you, because what you're doing is you're releasing endorphins. You feel good for a couple of days and the pain comes back.
Right.
With me, I'm actually getting the nervous system to release substance P, and it just creates an inflammation response and then reprograms pain receptors. So it actually works. I get people, I book 5 new clients a week and I'm still slow because they get better. Like I have to keep it's like I was talking, somebody compared me to a surgeon the other day, because you're not going to perform surgery twice.
Yeah.
Unless you mess up. Yeah. Unless you mess up.
Right.
But
so it's hard to keep clients.
Yeah. I have some referrals I get.
Right.
I tell people your body's like a car. It needs an oil change from time to time. I get a lot of like trades that come in because they're doing hard manual labor, athletes.
Oh, sure.
Chronic pain people. Some people just want me to press on their bones and they like it. They said it hurts so good. So I get a couple of those, but I'm always, trying to get new people in, and I booked 3 or 4 this week. They get better, and plantar fasciitis, I never see them again. So.
That's the foot one, right?
Have a nice life. Yeah.
Oh, well, you just the thing is, like, that they're going to refer business to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the big thing. Is like you see them, you get them in there. You fix them. Just make sure they have your contact information and they
Right.
know how to get in touch with you.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lady driving from Miami to get frozen shoulder treated because there's nobody down there. There's only a handful of us in Florida. I'm pretty much one of the only Central Florida people doing this. Yeah, so it's
Right. Do you put that on your website? Like, only one deal, this is not the right way to say it, but only local business working on frozen shoulder or anything like that.
there are there's different ways to treat frozen shoulder, whether it's chiro or PT. It's just what I do is a more, I wouldn't say direct approach. Like PTs can treat it, chiros can treat it. I just do a different approach.
Can you explain, just in case one of the listeners isn't really thinking of this, what is frozen shoulder?
It's adhesive capsulitis. So imagine your whole shoulder wrapped in saran wrap where you can't even lift your arm. And if you do, it's extreme pain. A lot of people think they have frozen shoulder. It's just a restriction. Frozen shoulder, it takes up to 2 years to heal on its own. I can accelerate it to like 3 to 6 months.
Nice.
Yeah. It takes a while. It's one of those, even my teacher, as good as he is, it takes like 8 to 10 sessions. It takes a little longer. You get them a little better, then they can raise their arm another inch, and then after the other session, another inch. It's very painful. If you try to lift their arm, the person will be on the floor in tears. It's very painful to deal
Do
with.
people resort to surgery for that kind of thing? They
They'll-
don't really know what else to do.
There's actually interesting, they'll put people under anesthesia, and it's really the brain locking the area down. So if they take the brain out of the equation and put them under anesthesia, they have full range of motion.
That's just crazy.
And then you turn the brain back on, you get them off the breathing machine, and then the frozen shoulder comes back. So they'll do manipulations under anesthesia. So it's just a lot of interesting.
It's not just turning off like the pain receptors in your brain for that?
Your brain is locking it down. So like there's 3 different types of pain.
Right.
So the first type is inflammatory. Well, actually, it's neuropathic when you touch a hot plate.
Right.
I'm sorry, that's nociceptive. It's nociceptive, and then inflammatory is when you stub your toe, so it aches for a couple days.
Right.
And then what I specialize in is neuropathic pains, where if you say you rolled your ankle in high school and it still aches,
Right.
the brain is telling, hey, like there is an injury here. We need to keep this pain here. We need to lock this down to protect it. I kind of reset it. It's like you're resetting your
Okay,
computer.
I think I just had a aha moment with what you're doing. So you're really just resetting. You've said reset before, but you're resetting the brain to say stop sending that signal that's supposed to be in pain.
Yeah, I mean, it's like your computer. You got to restart it. It automatically updates itself.
Yeah.
Same thing. I try to take really complex, really boring neuroscience and make it simple so that people understand it, because some people fall asleep when I try to explain it to them.
Well, no, it's just it's different. You know what I mean? And you were talking about this before the show started. It is that's one of the hardest challenges is for people to understand what you do, because you fit in the medical field, but it's just like mentally people have to put it in a category, because that's just what we automatically do. When we're talking about businesses, we put it in a category.
I say, do you hurt? I can help. So
Right.
If I can't cure it, I can treat it. If I can't treat it, there's some people that I can't help. We talk about that in my teachers will talk about that, so I know where to refer them.
Right. Well, let's talk about technique a little bit, because like you said, you have traditional massage, you have different things like that. You've mentioned that, okay, so massages, lotion, clothes, bare skin. That's not what you do, right?
Yep. I tell people just wear gym clothes. I work over clothes.
So what are some of the other technical things that you do on the body?
I'll do joint mobilization. It feels good. It just helps lubricate joints. That's kind of like putting some WD-40 on the door hinge. I lubricate joints, get the body to produce some synovial fluid, which lubricates the joint capsules. Most of what I do is the technique. It's called rapid neurofascial reset. So it's
like RAPID. Rapid.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's most of that is all just digging and dragging. We call them bony stations. So whenever a tendon connects to the bone, that's the spot that I really get on.
Okay.
So I just turn off pain. So it's just there's probably about 200 protocols that a trained rapid therapist knows. So you tell me what your problem is, and I'll know what to treat.
Is it the kind of thing like where if the pain's over here, you treat over here because you're not sure if that's what's causing that to hurt?
A little bit. There's some stuff. It's along a map. We call them fascial lines. There's like maps of the body. So if it's plantar fasciitis, I know it's something in the calf that's pulling on the foot. Low back pain, I work the whole pelvis. So it's just you get into a routine. I've treated enough people to where I kind of you tell me what sport you play, I can probably guess what hurts.
Right.
That's where the experience comes in.
We have the same sort of movements and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, break time already. Gosh, that goes fast. So, all right, music means we're going to break. So you guys stay tuned. And when we get back, we're going to have more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Winter Park. Experience the future of fitness at Body Street in Winter Park. Lose weight, build muscle, tone your body in only 20 minutes a week. Visit bodystreet.us, where fitness meets efficiency. All right, we're talking with Derrick Brantley with Imbalance Bodywork, and I asked him on the break if he had we had talked about Body Street before, and he said he went and gave it a demo, and he was like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool."
Yeah, it was neat.
Did you feel like sore or anything afterwards?
A little. I mean, it was an interesting experience. I'm more than happy to send people over.
Yeah. I what I like about it though is like afterwards, you know how you mentioned like the endorphins. That's what happens to me. Is so like for the rest of the day, I feel really like energized, and so I do like that about it. I wish you could like bottle that and just keep it and like be able to open it up whenever you want all week long.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
What you got going on over there?
Just holding my little eye cleaner.
So you mentioned that you do demos. What does that look like when somebody comes sees you? You just say, hey, what's been going on, and you kind of give them an idea.
Yeah, well, when I see people in BNI or potential referral source, like a chiro, physical therapist, acupuncture, I invite them in, just do a demo so they can kind of see what I do, understand how they can refer me people. So I pick one body part. I'm kind of mean sometimes. I had a guy this morning. I fixed one shoulder for free. You got to come in for the other one. It's
buy one get one kind of deal.
Yeah, no, I just fix one just to see it, and they come in for the other one. So I've done that at races. I fix one, or I go to 5K sometimes and bring my table.
Okay.
Work on racers. So if they have a foot problem, I'll work on one, see if it works, and the rest you got to come in for the other one.
It's like, I can get them hooked. And then
got bills to pay.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good idea, though, especially since it's a different type of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the misconceptions that you get?
Yeah, people call me sometimes and think I do pain management. They want pills, injections, or
But you do pain management, but just not like that.
Not the way it's registered. They ask me for exercises. I'm not a physical therapist, and I'll give them, can you adjust me today? I'm not a chiropractor. Things like that. But
do you still try to, if they're calling you, then they've got some sort of pain. Do you still talk to them and be like, hey, I can do this, this, and this? So maybe
I do. Sometimes they'll come in. I had a guy the other day call me, ask for like a deep tissue massage, and I was like, that's not what I do. And because he was looking for like the lotion, like I can refer you to somebody. And so he just didn't come in.
Do you think that they might just not know the terminology that you prefer, like for what you're doing? Because it is kind of new. Maybe they're just calling it a thing.
Well, some people know what they want. Like if they specifically want a massage and call me, because I'm technically labeled a massage therapist.
Right.
By law, I have to do that. I can get in a lot of trouble if I put a DR in front of my name because I'm not.
Right.
So if I try to like diagnose or things like that, or tell them what medications they should be taking, I'm not allowed to do that. I can get in a lot of trouble. So I have to really be careful on how I label myself. I can't register. If I put Dr. Brantley on the internet, I can get in a lot of trouble. I'm not licensed.
I'm just saying, if I didn't know, like, have the conversations with you, because I know you did something like when I was in BNI, maybe on my wrist or something, to give it like an example, like how you're talking about. And if I didn't know how adamant you were that it's not massage, I might just say that because it's the closest thing that you can like relate. People know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's why I invite people in. Like, I'll tell you to bring your spouse. I'll work on that person for free just to give them, because they know somebody. So I really rely on word of mouth. So I'm more than happy to. I've worked on people at barbershops, at Publix. Like, I'll just kind of, let me see your arm. I'll work on it. This is what I do. So, like, I've gotten clients
that actually I was thinking about how you assess and tailor your treatments. Is just kind of like question and a little sample. Yeah, because that's really, like I said, you don't really, everybody's unique, right? So you don't have like well, if this is happening, this is exactly is the protocol, or do you?
There's some recipe books my teachers made. They put it in the back of the workbook, like when you take the class. So if they have plantar fasciitis, do this. If they have back pain, do these protocols. There's a kind of a general recipe book on what works, and it's just I follow it 9 times out of 10. It works. And sometimes you got to be creative. Some people come in with some really interesting stuff like that. I've only read about this. This is interesting. So I have to kind of put on my Sherlock cap and figure out what the problem is, because a lot of times what they have is a symptom of something else.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's what I was asking before. Is like if they've got a pain over here, it's because they had an injury
Yeah.
on this side of their body when they were like 12 or
Everything's
something.
connected.
Sure. Yeah. Mhm.
What about communication? So, do you follow up with people after they've come and seen you?
After the first session, yes, I ask them how they're feeling and just to show that I care and that I'm, just to see, and they'll ask questions. When do I need to come back? How many sessions do I need? And then that's, I don't, they have a Google Voice number for me. They can text me if it's an emergency. I get help texts 2 to 3 times a week. Like, hey, I slipped in the shower, or I threw my back out, or, stuff like that.
so they can. I mean, do you go to their house to help them, or do they still have to come to you?
I have an office. I did do
It's
mobile
in
when
I know
I
it's
first
in Lake
started.
Mary.
I can see more people in the day. It's just driving, and it would take 3 hours out of my day to drive and go to people's homes, and I can see 10, 12 people a day in my office. It just makes it easier on my time. I can see more people without having to be booked.
Well, as far as like when I was asking about communication, so somebody like you said that they work in construction. Will you tailor a program specifically for them, and then like let them book like every other week, or how do you? Like I said, do you encourage that type of thing? I guess it's preventative is what I'm asking.
Yeah,
It took me a while to get there, but preventative.
We got there.
Trades are big. So like I have a guy who works in downtown Orlando. He's on the Lynx buses, so he's just screwdriver 8 hours a day. He's the mechanic for all the buses. So I told him like, hey, you can see like every 2 months. Imagine just doing this motion. He gets a radial nerve entrapment, so he just gets achiness. It's that they call it resistant tennis elbow. It's that tennis elbow that never goes away. So I can get him out of pain, but he's going to go back to work and do
the
this
same thing
for 8 hours. So I help him with that.
That's really
Here's like
cool.
physical Jesus exercises. I'm sorry, exercises to like strengthen certain things so that he isn't susceptible to.
Yeah, I recommend it. I'm not allowed to give exercises. But
'Cause that's
That's more
physical therapy.
that's physical. They're very strict on.
You can't even recommend exercises.
I'm not
Like
allowed.
squeeze a ball or
That's
something.
weird. Like I get the medicine thing, but why can't you recommend?
There's a lot of. I try not to pick on other professions. Physical therapists are very territorial on what I've been approached by numerous, thinking I'm doing what they're doing, trying to like say you shouldn't be doing that. You need to go to PT school, and I'm not. So they're very. I don't give exercises. They'll email me and
Smack you on the wrist.
pretty much
and be like,
slap
you
my
can't do
wrist,
that.
and I tell them to have a nice day and leave me alone.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, you're just trying to help clients. I think that's harmless, but anyways.
No, I know, but you know how it is. Everybody's got to be policing somebody else.
Yeah.
Even though it really doesn't like pertain to them.
I like PTs; they don't like me. And put it that way.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, that's interesting. So let's talk about the business itself a little bit. So you have a very unique business, and how do you look at growth? I mean, what do you see as success?
How I want to grow my business. Back to the business side. I mean, I'd want to be able to have someone working for me eventually.
Okay, so you want to pick up an employee, you want to teach them the
what
technique.
I do. So
Well,
I
how many
can-
people do you? I'm so sorry. How many people do you have now? Is it just you?
I average, just me. I
Okay.
average like 25, 30 clients a week. It's my business model is like trying to fill a strainer with water. They keep getting better, so I need to find more people. So once I get about 50 clients a week, I can hire someone, so I have more time to do stuff like this. Working on the business, not in the business.
Got it. Yeah.
That's just hard.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie. That's when I think about what you're saying is like with your price point, you've got clients, you fix them, they go on. I mean, even like somebody that works on IT, something breaks. There's always something that's gonna break. You know what I mean? Like if it's your printer or your computer. But I mean, when it comes to this,
Yeah, but like sports, so athletes, I mean, they gotta
yeah.
constantly have something going on.
I'm just curious what your mentor talks about, like keeping your funnel full.
That's what I'm saying,
That's a
like,
full-time job right
We-
there,
we
right?
call
That's
it-
what I'm saying, like athletes and like probably schools. You could probably work with schools that have a bunch of teams.
We organize the clients into 4 categories, the A, B, C, D. So the A are new clients, need to come in. B clients are getting better. They're not to come in as often. C clients are maintenance, and D clients are one and done. So I think my business is the money isn't the C clients. They're the maintenance, because I don't have to spend any time, effort, marketing, advertising. They're going to come in 2 to 3 times a year regardless. And that's just
like the bus drivers.
Yeah. Let's talk about, we're going to go to break, but when we get back, let's talk a little bit more about the C category there, because that's about growing the business or longevity. So stay tuned for more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. Do you know what your sprinkler system did last night? Probably not, so it's a good time to get your irrigation system serviced by Ground Up Property Services today. Be sure to ask Rick Hall with Ground Up about a water sensor too, so your lawn doesn't get too much water. And we've been getting a lot of rain. And don't forget about the lawn painting service. If you are planning an outdoor event and you want to hide those brown spots on the lawn, call 407-468-4295 or visit groundupinc.net. We had Rick Hall. Have you met Rick before?
I don't believe so.
I don't know. He's just a great guy, but he's one of our sponsors as well. And we talked for 2 hours about irrigation systems, and it's just fun.
He has a similar problem with the painting lawn services. People don't really know what it is.
Or the first thing they think of is that it's really bad for the environment.
Yeah, the misconceptions on it. So, similar.
So here we're with Derrick Brantley, and his business is Imbalance Body Works. And before break, he started talking about do you call them customers or clients or?
Yeah, clients. Yeah,
Clients.
I don't use the word patient because it makes it seem too
Doctory.
Medical.
doctory, and because people get nervous when they go to the doctor. I try to make it like a fun experience when you come in, and I know I'm treating a problem, but I don't want it to be, you're not doctory. You get that nervousness when you're sitting in the waiting room. I don't know what's wrong with me, kind of thing.
I think people probably come knowing that they're going to leave with like some sort of pain relief,
Mhm.
and I think that's probably a really good thing, because that's the state that most people are in when they call you, is like some sort of pain, not necessarily chronic. It can be acute or chronic, right?
Correct.
Right. All right. So let's talk about those different stages of what a client looks like. What was A again?
A are new clients. They come in once a week. They're on the 3 to 8 session treatment plan. That's the average. Some people I've got rid of it in a few sessions. Some people it takes a little longer. So I average it out like 3 to 8.
And that you usually get those through referrals or
Referrals somehow, yeah. Word of mouth.
right, word of mouth. And you said 3 to 8 sessions. What do you mean there?
That's the average. So people, how many sessions do I need? So some people, if it's really chronic, really severe, might take 10 sessions. Some people it might take 1, 2. So the
Right.
average is like 3 to 8. So I kind of give them a realistic.
So do they buy it in packages like that?
I do one at a time. Eventually, I'd want to have other people working for me, right, like massage, chiros. They can buy a package that way, and you can pick what you want. But I've had people buy 10 sessions and get better in 4, so I have 6 sessions I don't know what to do with.
Right.
So
That's what I was wondering,
yeah.
because if you can't really tell, it has to do with everybody's individual body.
Right.
Like, does it have some, like, is there a thing where like some certain pain can be like more ingrained? Like when you're talking about you're resetting your brain and that receptor, is it like a thing where it's just like more ingrained, so it takes longer, or?
It can be. I mean, there's sometimes if there's emotional traumas or high stress, I know when to refer that out, because if they don't get better after I work on them, and some people go on vacation and their pain goes away, it's more of a mental issue. If there's PTSD, I have to refer that out.
Who would you refer that to?
There's someone in my chapter that I would refer to. She's, qualified to treat that stuff. Or if they already have a mental health practitioner, I say you need to go
That's
with that
what.
person,
So
yeah.
like a psychologist or
Psychologist,
like a.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
That's really interesting. So you will give referrals to a psychologist for physical pain because it's mental?
Sometimes emotional pain can manifest itself as physical pain. I don't see it often, but there's sometimes if people, we call them limbic reactions. If they, sometimes I'll
Can you
work
give
on
us
them.
an example? I mean, not name
Sure.
names, but I would love to kind of see how that looks.
I have had some people, I had a lady, actually I have a client that I see, her husband comes in with her so she feels comfortable, and didn't go into too much detail, but he said any type of trauma, abuse you can think of, she's experienced it, and she holds a cup, kind of, her hand will shake, and and we've developed trust. I work with her, but I got to keep her talking, keep her distracted, because if I don't, she can start crying, and there's,
Her body says that you're hurting her?
no, it's just her, just emotionally,
Okay.
and so it's just same thing. I've had men, like combat veterans, they'll have the tics of PTSD. They'll make sounds. They'll excessively blink, and you got to keep them talking.
Right.
So if he touched, I had a guy, he had shrapnel in his arm. So I'm working his shoulder, but
Right.
in his mind, he's going back to where he got that injury. So you have to.
Have you ever gotten punched?
No. But you just got to keep them talking. And sometimes if they
Right.
have an emotional reaction, and they become dependent on you. Sometimes they come in like every
Right.
week and they're not getting better. And they, I have to slowly kind of get rid of them because they're wasting their money with me.
Right.
Like
that makes a lot of sense though. Like even if it's not a specific trauma like that, if people have a lot of anxiety, like for instance, my dad had melanoma and he had to get it removed. Everything was fine, but he has a lot of anxiety. So just knowing that, and then he's already kind of like, he's in the medical field, he's a physical therapist. So he was like, his anxiety about that was manifesting in other ways to where your mind can just like make you think all kinds of stuff that's like physical. It shows up physically. It's weird.
Right. So how did you, with that particular patient, did you end up referring them to a therapist, and then you guys kind of worked together?
The woman I worked with already has a therapist.
Okay.
So is on meds and doing therapy, and it's just, she's one of those people, unfortunately, that she needs to go see a therapist for the rest of her life. And then there's other people, they just kind of slowly just stop coming in. I try to tell them, like, hey, or people, they Dr. Google themselves. I had a lady, she said she had gastroparesis, and that's paralyzation of the stomach muscles. I have a client today, she has a feeding tube. She can't eat food, she can't drink water, like that. And, I didn't realize it till 10 sessions later. I'm like, she just said, when did you get diagnosed? Like, oh, I got it on Google. Like she diagnosed herself. So it's just people think they have something and they don't. And in their mind, they have it.
I'm not a huge fan of Dr. Google. I just not.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody knows. I hope people know, like, that's probably whatever you Google is probably not what you have, but it's very hard to not just do that.
Right.
If you don't have a doctor in the family or something, you're gonna Google it.
I will look things up out of just curiosity, but I will very rarely make any decisions like without actually talking to somebody that knows what they're talking about.
Right.
Just because like anybody can put something on the internet.
That's true.
And usually it's doom and gloom. And I mean, how many times do people diagnose themselves correctly?
Very rarely. Even the medical system, they get there's a term called patient dumping, where a doctor can't help you, or they just give you a diagnosis and they don't really know what it is. They just want to get rid of you. Fibromyalgia is a popular one. Plantar fasciitis.
What's that first one you just said?
Fibromyalgia is chronic pain throughout the body. So there's different tender points. They'll test you about 21 points if you test 18 points if you test positive at 11 of them. If they touch you in a certain area and it hurts, it's just chronic pain throughout the body. It was kind of thrown out in the medical community for a long time, but a lot of people, if they don't Dr. Google themselves, a doctor will give them the incorrect diagnosis. So a lot of traditional Western medicine doctors don't have a lot of training on musculoskeletal pathology. Chiropractors do, physical therapists do, acupuncturists do to a certain degree, and people like me. But
right. So the Western medicines just want to give them a pill and send them packing.
Right, and it goes both ways. I mean, sometimes I had a client come in with really bad mid-back pain, but it turned out he had a kidney stone. So
geez.
I'm the person that you should see last. Like, please go get blood work and do whatever. Because a lot of people say, well, great, I don't have cancer, awesome, but why do I hurt? So they get MRIs and X-rays and everything is good, awesome.
Then come see you.
Then come see me. Make sure nothing major. Like, I had a client yesterday. He's bone on bone in his hip. He's only about 30. He had sepsis and it destroyed his hip.
What's sepsis?
Sepsis is a blood infection.
Okay.
So it destroyed his hip.
But did he know he had that before he came to see you? He said, I've been diagnosed with this.
Right. Well, he had the infection. It caused a vascular necrosis in his hip. It destroyed the blood vessels, and he had bone death. So he needs a hip replacement at about 30. And he's bone on bone. I mean, you can hear the grinding of his hip. He couldn't even. So I had to send him to get tested for DVT, which is blood clots in his legs, before I could work on his legs.
How did you learn all this stuff, though?
I read a lot of really boring books.
Yeah, and I imagine.
I went to the chiropractic school and the physical therapist school, and I bought their textbooks that the students would be reading. And you would see me at coffee shops reading big, thick books on musculoskeletal.
Have you ever thought about becoming a doctor?
What kind of doctor?
I don't know.
Any kind of doctor.
Doctor
Have you
that
ever
helps
thought
people?
of becoming
That's a lot of school and debt.
Yeah.
I mean, if I go to PT school, I'm not really interested in doing exercises. I'd rather refer that out, and it's very necessary. I tell people, hey, like, your issue is you need to be calling a PT. You're using me as a pain pill. Like, your issue is a strength issue. I can get you out of pain, but now you need to strengthen. Same thing with chiro. Like, go see a chiropractor. I'm more valuable in where I'm at.
Yeah. Right. All right, we're going to go to break, and when we get back, we've made it to A with the client, so we're going to go through B, C, and D. So everybody stay tuned.
You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
transmission.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome back to BaaD Radio as we launch into our second hour. I'm going to run through all of the regular info for those of you who just joined us. I am Angela Smerito, your host, and we've got our co-host and videographer, Melissa Jacob.
Hello, hello, hello.
Her business is called Striking Brand, and if you go to strikingbrand.com, you can see all of her other work. But if you go to baadradio.com, that's BaaD radio.com, then you'll see all of the other episodes of the show. And we are here with Derrick Brantley with Imbalanced Bodywork, and we talked a whole first hour about that. And so we're going to talk another whole hour about that. I know I got a little mixed up on the segment, so that this is the beginning of the second hour. Did you realize that? Okay.
Well, only because I'm turning on and off camera, so I have to kind of mentally know where we are.
Because I'm sitting there looking at the Froggers commercial, and I'm like, well, that's the show intro, so that means it's the beginning of the hour. Anyway, so I'm excited to have another full hour to talk with Derrick, because we started to really get into the details of what his clients look like. And so we talked about the initial clients, and most of them, as you said, are through referral base. And what is the next step? So you have the A, now what's the B?
B clients is when they're feeling better, but they're not quite 100% yet. So I get them like, hey, I don't have to see you once a week. I can see you every 2 weeks. You know, you can come in, and we're just kind of cleaning this up. Their pain was really bad. And it's like, it's like a 2, just almost gone. So just kind of clean things up and then get them to maintenance.
What is the average of people? Well, you said you anywhere from 3 to 10, but I mean, when people first come in and their pain's pretty bad, is that once a week, or do you sometimes see people multiple times in a week?
I need 24 hours in between sessions to kind of allow the inflammation response to do its thing. So if I absolutely had to, I could see you every other day. What I do doesn't feel too good. I have to treat pain with pain. So it's something that's just with neuroscience. It hurts. I work within your tolerance, but the more you can take, the more I can help you. So I had a lady with plantar fasciitis. It was horrible. She's running marathons now, but she's like, I have to get rid of this. So she would come in Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and like every other day I can see you if you really wanted to, but.
Yeah, some people have different thresholds. I'm a wimp. I don't have a high threshold. I mean, enough to have kids, but I meant like there's some people that's
a lot.
Yeah. Have you ever? I can tell from going to like things that you do at the dermatologist or like at med spas and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you're not touching that laser to my face, because I will scream. And other people, oh, you don't even feel it. Or that thing of like how people do their eyebrows. Have you ever seen it with the strings?
Threading.
No, with the strings.
Yeah.
That hurts. Have you ever done it?
No.
There's a lady in my office that does it. I watch her. It's an art, but it's not. Doesn't
I
feel
am
good.
telling you, they'll say it doesn't hurt. They're lying.
Lies.
It hurts.
I've done waxing. That's easier. It's just like one quick.
Yeah, no, this is kind of like you're like
the entire time.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do that.
So I think I would probably be pretty wimpy when it came to what you're doing. But I can imagine that other people are like, yeah, I can take that.
It depends. I mean, some people are more hypersensitive. I had a lady today. It feels good. I do her calves. It usually really hurts, and she's like, that feels so good. It's just everybody's different. So I think people that are very inflamed in their body tend to have more hypersensitivity than people that are healthier.
So you're saying of people that are more inflamed, so they're more susceptible, or they feel the pain more.
They have a lot more inflammation. And people that don't have the healthiest of lifestyles take longer to treat.
Diet and stuff.
Yeah, healthy people, they get better a lot faster. They're in really good shape. They just kind of had an injury. They get better faster, where other people are not healthy.
Yeah.
And I just kind of push, hey, like, what's your nutrition? Like, when's the last time, what are you doing for exercise? And some people they'd rather just use me as a pain pill. That's fine. But I'm happy to take your money, but I'd rather you live healthy and be healthy.
Has anybody ever asked you to put together meal plans or do something above and beyond the scope of what you do right now? Or have you ever even considered doing that?
I'm a big fan of nutrition. I think it'd be good for me it'd be something I'd be interested in as like a side thing. Like I can't really give, because that's into the prescribing category, which
a meal plan? Even though it's not got...
Could be. It's red tape. Just I have to really stay in my little box of of massage / body work kind of thing. So, but that's just a referral opportunity for me. Like, hey, just, what are you eating? And you get that's Emily Murphy referral.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go to her. She specializes in that. So I'd rather send you to back to business. It's just you'd rather be a specialist in one thing.
Right.
A lot of massage therapists learn 10 different things, and then I wanted to do that, and I find one thing, become an expert, and just refer to everything else.
Well, you mentioned earlier about expanding your business and having like a physical therapist, having a masseuse, so people could like pick, but not you specifically.
I'll always be in the office like 2 days a week. I've had people that only want to see me, and I've had people I've been working with for so long that have complicated issues. If you were to come in and see me, you don't have to keep explaining your issues to a new person.
Right.
So you have this, and this going on, and this is how I treat it, and that's it's a lot easier, kind of get in, get out sort of thing. But when I hire someone, all new clients will go to that person because I want them busy. I want them booked because they get paid by appointment. So I want them booked.
Right. So when they're in the B stage, then that's like you said, that's when they're kind of like getting better and they're almost there, and then they transition into a C.
Yeah, B stage is quick. They're in B stage for a very short amount of time and then automatically C.
So tell us about C.
C is maintenance. So those are the people that every 3 months is the most common frequency. So like I have the people that are manual labor, I have the trades, I have the athletes, I have the people that have the more holistic mindset. They don't want to go to the Western medicine doctor. They'd rather go to an acupuncturist. The holistic minded folks, more natural healing. So get your body heal itself. So those are the people that I say your body's like a car, it needs an oil change. Some people wait until the pain is a 10 before they come in. Like why just when it's a 3 come in? Why deal with it? It's like people who never change their oil. It's that teenager that they let it just be empty before they change the oil and they burn their engine up.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah. Sometimes, I don't know, if I have a pain, I'm going to let it go for a while. And it's not because I'm not being responsible. It's because I think that it's going to take care of itself at some point. Like, I think a lot of things that kind of, maybe it was something I moved a certain way and it'll just work itself out.
Yeah.
So I don't run
and
there.
now sometimes it works, though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I get people that they get on my schedule and I show them what it's like to be pain free. And they're like, "Oh wow, okay, well."
I thought about that. That's funny that you mentioned that. I thought about this morning because one of the things like I see and read a lot is you don't realize that you're in pain, or you don't know how good it feels until you feel good, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's why pain is not a lifestyle. It's on my shirt. It's got to have that catchy slogan. So.
Right.
And people like that. People's like, oh, that makes sense. I relate to it. I wake up and I haven't even for plantar fasciitis people. They wake up, they haven't even brushed their teeth yet, and their foot hurts.
Right.
Like, they haven't even done anything. They as soon as they get out of bed and put their foot on the hard floor, it's horrible. Like it's the first thing in the morning. They wake up and they're like, great. Like I'm gonna feel good. It's worse in the morning.
Yeah. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I thought it is not just something for when they're walking barefooted on flat surfaces. It's always there.
It's worse in the morning. Yeah, it's a tissue creep. So if you imagine you're making chocolate milk and you put the chocolate on the bottom, it settles at the bottom.
Right.
And when you shake it up, it spreads. So like during the night when you sleep, you're stationary for 8 hours if you're getting 8 hours of sleep. So it's just it settles, and then you wake up in the morning. It's horrible. So as you move around, it gets better.
And this is something that you can fix.
Fix it. Never see him again.
Just one time.
Some 3 to 5, depending on how bad it is. If it's full blown. If I press on the bottom of your foot and I have to peel you off the ceiling, that's full blown. That takes about 5 sessions. But some people I catch it early, so I can get rid of it in 2 or 3. And so a lot of my 5-star reviews on Google are plantar cases.
I saw your Google reviews. They're all 5-star.
I have a lot of people I need to track down. Hey, can you write me a Google review? Because I just don't always ask them, and there's like, oh my gosh, thank you, and then I never see them again. So I need to get them. The people that I really hit home runs with, hey, can you give me a review? That
Absolutely.
Really helps.
That's the best thing they can do. And that doesn't even cost them any money to do that. So.
They'll do it in the parking lot before they leave. So that's great. So,
you should do the little QR code on your phone and be like, just scan it right there.
Right there.
Right to your Google reviews.
Yeah. It really helps. And just people just trying to get them to know what I do.
Yeah. So like I said, that's the key right there. So, all right. Well, actually, that music that we left on a really good note right there. So we're going to pick back up with Derrick Brantley after the break. So stay tuned for more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar. With daily specials, an amazing kids menu, and sports, and more sports, there is something for everyone at Frogger's. And don't miss out on Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, never frozen. With 4 great locations, there is bound to be one near you: Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's, hop in with food and fun. Look at that. We're so good. You know, Anna just did a reel with the read for like that. And I was like, you did such a good job.
Hold on, I saw it.
It had
Frogger's.
It was part of
had
that.
some cheesesteak and then it split to a guy talking.
Yeah. Well, it was what she did is she took part of that live read and then she cross-referenced it with one from the Jim Colbert show on Real Radio. So
that's where he came from.
Yeah. So
I
she
recognized
pulled,
the read.
Yeah.
I was like, that's definitely from a read.
Mm-hmm. So it was really cool how she did that. And then we did the videos like from when we went there and took the pictures and stuff like that. So it was really cool to watch her put it together. Anyway, I digress. So we're here with Derrick Brantley, and we're talking about like the cycles of his clients. This is what I do find interesting because one of the things that my brain does is try to find solutions for stuff. So the problem I see is that you are trying to hustle. You have to hustle so much to keep your book of business filled that, you know, you can, I mean, when somebody says, hey, I booked 5 new clients this week, I mean, if I booked 5 new clients, I would be a gajillionaire. You know what I mean? So, but for you, it's a different story because of your line of work.
Are you hiring so I can work for you?
Right.
I want to be
You don't want to. No, you don't want to do it.
I don't think you'd like what
Sales.
I do.
I'm too introverted to be on the radio all the time.
Yeah.
No, it's just in like media, like putting together media plans. But I mean, my job is to go out there and get the business.
Sales.
So I'm the straight up salesperson.
Okay.
But for you, you're your salesperson too. So you're the everything from A to Z. So you have a client, and we're in the maintenance stage. So is this a stage that your mentor says that you can do more developing and maybe be able to come up with programs to keep some of these people coming back? I mean, you don't want people to waste money, and I get that. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about straight up maintenance.
Sure. Yeah. C clients are the ones that, from a business perspective, they pay the bills because I don't have to do any marketing, advertising. They're already, and I always tease people. I say I'm a terrible business owner because I'm honest. You know, they'll book a 45-minute appointment for tennis elbow. Like, I can fix this in 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to be bored after 10 minutes. I don't know what I'm going to do. We can talk or play cards or something.
Right.
I just do a 15-minute session and get you out the door. So save you some money. But yeah, I tell people every 2 or 3 months, you know, is the most common frequency depending on what you do. My tradespeople, I say, I really want to see you every like 4 to 6 weeks. Get them to book an appointment before they leave, because they'll let it get really bad and sometimes even have to cancel work. They lose jobs because the bat goes out. They can't work.
Is that the hard part, though, is getting them to book it before they leave? And or instead of just saying, hey, I'll just call you. It's like, no, let's just get on the calendar right now.
Yeah, I just started doing that this year. It's just with my coach and just trying to, how do I have retention? Because my business is a leaky bucket. It's actually a good book where it's just money is leaking out the bucket. It's
Sounds like a kid's book.
It was good. It just
Leaky
things
bucket.
that people do in their business that cost them money that shouldn't.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to get, keep my costs down and to have people come in retention. And some people come in, I am their spa. Like, they want me to really press deep. Like, people ask me if I do deep tissue, like, in a way, like, how deep do you press? Like, literally the bone.
The bone, right?
Literally the bone.
You
That's
don't
how
get
deep.
any deeper
You don't
without
get any,
making a hole.
Right, yeah. Like, that's how deep I go. And some people, the little 15-minute spot sessions for the desk sitters, I'll do neck and shoulders and everything. They just feel good because they're sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day.
Can you actually? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, for these C clients, do you have sports teams that you work with or schools and things like that? Because that sounds
trying to get on with them. I have some baseball coaches, like Little League baseball kids will come in. They throw their arm out, so I can prevent them with that. They'll have growing pains. I can help them with that too. Because you mentioned you had them when you were a kid. I think you had Seaver's disease. So that's been
Me? That sounds
I
scary.
had Seaver's disease.
You had it in the calf, right?
Yeah, like shins.
Shins. Yeah. Seaver's disease is really in the calcaneal tendon, the Achilles tendon. So really, the bones are growing faster than the tissue can keep up with. So
That's what shin splints are?
Shin splints is periostitis, so it's just inflammation of the outer layer of bones. So you can get the runner's leg, which is the interior, and then you have the anterior, posterior. Posterior is runner's leg. So sometimes you can get stress fractures and it gets mistaken for shin splints and you break your leg.
I would get that too, shin splints.
Are you a runner?
Not now, but
Well,
I
no,
used
but
to
yeah,
be.
back then.
Yes,
It's an aggressive
it's
treatment.
terrible.
And it hurts to get it treated, but I can fix it. I've had some marathon people come in that treat their shin splints. It's not fun.
Yeah.
See, I think that running. I
Let's hear it.
I just think that running is so bad for you.
I think
agree.
so too because of your knee. It's just so high impact. I don't know. I'm not like the biggest fan, and I also get bored after about a mile. I get bored, but I just feel like that the endorphins.
Right.
It's good, and it's such a challenge.
I've
It's one of
been
those
there.
things
You
that's
know, get the
hard.
runner high, and then you
Yeah.
can just run for the rest of your life. You could be like Forrest Gump it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, for the long term, your knees, your
Yes.
ankles, your feet.
There is something about like on a hot summer day running. I know it's like sounds so miserable,
It kind
It
but
does.
it is so miserable. But it's like when you finish that, it's like if I did that, if I can run
Yeah.
outside in the heat for a mile. But yeah, you're right. It's terrible. And
The endorphins are good. I mean, I've hung up my running shoes. I'm only 35.
Mhm.
I tell people bicycling, indoor, outdoor, swimming, and then weightlifting because you can reverse the osteoporosis, osteopenia. So I have some older folks that come see me like lift weights that can help reverse that. But I'm not a big fan of running either.
Okay, so I don't feel so bad because like
No,
my
you're right
my
on.
sister and her family all were like avid runners, and I'm telling you, they all ended up with
Mhm.
with knee and leg and ankle problems. And I'm
They pay my bills.
Mhm. How do you? Because I think of like shin splints. How would you even treat a shin splint?
I get right on the bone and dig into
oh
it.
God.
So
and that's-
it's
I would
Resets.
rather run a mile in the summer outside.
that's why plantar fasciitis. I have to do the more painful protocols. I tell them this does not feel good. I don't want to waste your time. But they're like, I'm in horrible pain already. I get rid of it. Shin splints is a rather uncomfortable treatment, but I get rid of it for them.
And did you teach? Okay, so I know you got you got taught all this stuff, but I meant, is there a specific thing that says this is how you help somebody that's suffering from shin splints, or is it like a methodology that you kind of had to create?
My teachers they did a wonderful job making the workbook. So if you look at the workbook, they have the upper and lower body class. If I'm looking at the lower body class, they'll say tib anterior. If they have these symptoms, this is how you treat it. Or they'll say like a list of symptoms. If they have these symptoms, this is what it is. This is how you treat it. So it's just kind of a recipe book. And I've been doing it for so long. You tell me what your issue is, I know how to treat it.
Yeah.
You know,
How
so-
long have you been doing it?
Oh gosh, 2017. So I've been doing that.
What year is it for? So like 7 years.
7 years. And I'm still learning. And I'm always learning. Every time I see my teachers, I learn something. They come to Florida a couple times a year. I'm a TA, so I kind of just help them, and I can pull my teachers aside, get some one-on-one stuff. And they change things and evolve. And hey, we learned a better way to do this. So they'll kind of
Your teacher's from Canada?
Canada, yeah, A. That's how they talk.
Yeah.
So what do you know, A?
Yes, I do know that.
Nice
so how
people.
often do you go up there?
I try to repeat the class every year. So they come here twice. You know, I go up there maybe once a year. They do come here twice a year, so I see them and then I'll follow them around. So like they'll have upper, lower core, and there's classes. So like I'll see them back to back. I might go once a year. I might go this summer just to see them. You know,
Do
just
they
to get
have
some one-on-one.
a building or like a someplace up north that people go
Not-
like a patient?
Not yet. And long term, I hope they do. Right now, they travel. They host classes out of hotels. It's kind of in its infancy. It's really taken off in Canada. The States, not so much. It's a different beast down here.
Yeah.
They're up in Canada. You can work for somebody and do okay. Down here, to be successful at this, you really have to work for yourself.
Is it because of the price point? 'Cause I don't. I mean, don't take this wrongly, but I just don't think you're that expensive. You know what I mean? So
I appreciate you saying that because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm worth more than I charge, but you got to keep it reasonable. And back to like a business perspective, like people that would hire someone like me, I've been offered. I walked out of job interviews. I got tired of getting offered what I can get paid to work at Starbucks to do what I'm doing, and I'm paying for all the training out of my own pocket.
Yeah.
I should be.
Right.
So that's another reason why I'm motivated in business to give people like me somewhere to work, and I'll pay you well.
yeah.
I'll work you hard, but I'll pay you well.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is well, yeah, like I said, that's what I meant. Is that you get paid what you're worth, right? So
It's hard because I work in healthcare, so I can't. It doesn't make me look good as a provider to overcharge, and it's hard to find that sweet spot.
right.
Um,
Well, we'll talk more about that when we get back from break. So stay tuned for more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you protect your investment. We've been talking with Derrick Brantley with Imbalanced Body Works, and we're going to continue that conversation. And we're talking about pricing and how you price your product or your service. And I was wondering if Derrick's prices are set by the cost of physical therapy or the cost of a massage. And you're saying it kind of does, but not really.
Yeah, I don't think I charge quite as much as PT, depending on, I don't know what the insurance reimbursements rates are. I don't take insurance. It doesn't cover me. But then I do take HSA, so it runs like a debit card.
Yep, familiar with that.
Yeah, those are great. So I charge per session, and I'm just honest. If it's like, hey, I don't need you for 45 minutes, I can do it in 30. And, I'm really charging for a half hour what an hour massage would go for, and you're getting more value. Like I've saved people from surgery, which is
I
neat.
bet.
Yeah, so it's $80 for a half hour is very reasonable. Like you got to find that sweet spot in business. I'm worth. I've had more than one person tell me like they give me more, like, do you need change? No, keep it. Thank you. I mean, what people have spent, especially with like plantar fasciitis stuff. I'm usually the last person they go see. They've had unnecessary surgeries, even with insurance. They have copays that they're in the thousands.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not a fan of insurance. I am totally for like a society where, I mean, I understand it has its place. You know what I mean? And it's there to protect us. But I think that it limits so much of what people can do. And I think it limits the health that people get, that the treatment that people get, because you get put in a box and you have to get seen in 10 minutes and then you have to move on to the next. And it's like, just like I said before, here's a pill, call
and
us.
certain things are covered, certain things aren't. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd want to have like a nonprofit of my business eventually, to where like you take a certain amount off every session, put it aside so I can pay for a couple of sessions a month. Because I've had some people that were on hard times, and I cut them a break. I had a lady that worked in fast food, and I told her, just post about me on Facebook. I'll give you a free demo. Like I'll do a quick session for you. So like I know there's people who are in need that value it, and then there's people that just are price shoppers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the way it is, like with the show, like for nonprofits, I have to be careful because I want to give everything away.
Well,
and I'm like, I still have to pay my bills. So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's my coach told me, you run a business, not a charity. At the end of the day, you have bills to pay. You do this for a living. This is what I do, my primary source of income.
But that's just that it's hard when you can make those decisions to help somebody or not.
It is. I mean, I literally got on a plane and went to Canada to learn how to do this. So like I had to get a passport, like all that stuff, and go through TSA and all that.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
What are some of the recommendations or some advice that you'd give to somebody coming up in the field?
In the technique that I do, specialize in one thing. Don't be a jack of all trades. People ask me, do you do lymphatic drainage? I don't. Here's a card. Things like that, and learn how to run a business. It's actually more important to learn the business than it is the therapy. It doesn't matter how good you are. If that phone doesn't ring, you don't eat. If that phone does not ring, you don't buy groceries.
Right.
So it's more important to really understand that you're a business owner first.
Yeah. What do you guys think about just like regular business degrees, like the 4-year? Do you think that it's even worthwhile now? Because you were talking about, learning how to run the business. And what does that look like? Is that a 4-year degree from a major university?
No.
What is that?
I think if you even speaking with a business coach probably helps a lot. And then being directed, having like the books that they direct you to read and stuff like that, and then everything online. I mean, I think this is a whole different topic, but I think college for the most part is.
Yeah.
I think that the only a lot of big names, like billionaires, they say like MBA, it's kind of not the best degree, and you're taught how to be an employee in somebody else's business, and that's fine. I mean, I have a lot of younger kids, like teenagers, younger people, early 20s that see me, and I tell them it's math, science, medicine, and law. If you're going to be in those 4 careers, then you need to go to college. But I know people who have master's degrees that don't make money at all. And
I listen. I mean, I've got kids that are at college age, and I listen to some of the classes they have to take, and I'm like, God, what a waste of time. Why not teach a class on like I said, setting up a business.
Have you
Right.
read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
No,
That's
but
a
I should.
Great book. So in the book he has his rich father and his poor father. So his poor father's biological dad, multiple PhDs from Harvard, big schools, head of education in Hawaii, like very highly paid government employee, but he's always broke. And he has his rich dad who's a high school dropout, owns multiple businesses,
Right.
investments. So it's just he has that, different, he failed English and he was really embarrassed because his dad was the head of education in Hawaii, but he told his rich dad about it and he said, a secret I'll tell you is that my banker does not ask me for my report card.
Right.
True.
He goes and borrows money from the bank to buy a business or to buy a building, real estate, that they don't care what his grades are. Like they look at his financial statements.
Well, being in the business, and you're in the same boat too with Striking Brand. Would you suggest that people figure out how to start and run a business and then go get their specialty, or to get their specialty and then learn how to do the business part?
What do you mean, get your specialty?
Like your photography.
Yeah.
Like would you if you're talking to somebody that's starting out, they're
Well, I
in high
think-
school and they're like, I like photography. Would you be like, okay, I would recommend that you learn how to manage or to start and manage a business first and then focus on the photography, and the same goes with you.
Yeah, I think it just is. I mean that it's a little bit different because it's an art thing. So you already are going to have that passion there, so you don't have to really focus. I mean, obviously you do, but I don't know if I would say first it's like a simultaneous thing. But if you want to start your own business and that's your mindset, then I wouldn't recommend like a college for that.
I know.
I'm a big fan of Mike Rowe. He does the what was it? Dirty Jobs, and it's really trades, or they say the blue collar is the new white collar. Just trades. And I tell younger people, solve problems. You get paid in proportion to the difficulty of problems you solve,
Right.
and then you learn your trade, work for somebody for a while, get some experience, and then on the side learn business. And when you're ready, start your own business,
Right.
have a coach. But you got to get some experience.
Right.
You're doing whatever work for someone for a while.
Yeah.
Get your hands dirty. And
What I consider you doing is I mean, I know when they say trades, it's like plumber, electrician, but I still consider what you do as a specialty, is like a trade, because
trade.
like I said, it's something that you can hang your hat on.
I solve a problem. That's all I do. People come to me with a problem and they give me money and I fix it.
And you could move to just anywhere and be able to start your business.
Yeah.
Well, for the most part.
The growing, yeah.
Because there's going to be people in pain.
The growing pains I see the value in buying a business, because I started my business out of the back of my car, and it was just, I know a lot. If I were to move to North Carolina, I'd be able to rebuild faster because I know what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
But also I'd have to start from scratch all over again, and I'd rather not do that. I'd rather buy a business and plug my people into it. I could buy out a chiropractor and then keep the chiropractic, and then everyone gets a free demo of what I do, just to get the
Well, the trust, because that's
trust.
a big thing too. Is that a big thing that you have to deal with? Is getting people to trust you, and that you know what you're doing and that you're going to help them?
Yeah, it's not quite like Kyra. A Kyra friend of mine in my chapter, she says, your spine is literally in my hands. It takes trust. With
Is that
me,
Dr. J?
Dr. J, yeah. So I'm not doing manipulations like that. I mean, but there are some, you got to know what you're doing. I had a lady with jaw pain, but she's got a bone graft that's still healing on her. Like, I had to avoid that area, and you got to know, on my intake form, like yesterday I had a guy who probably has blood clots in his leg. Like, I'm not touching your leg until you go to the doctor and make sure you don't have a blood clot, because I could send you to the hospital.
What about because you said a lot of the things that you do, the manipulations are really painful. Have you ever been to the gym and you have like a coach or something, and you're like, oh, I'm dying, like I can't do one more, and they just don't believe you? They're like, no,
push
do one more. Like, what? How are you? Like, if somebody's like,
don't do it.
Oh, that's painful, but it's a painful thing to have to do.
I work within their tolerance, and I can tone it down. And I've worked on enough people. Like, if you wouldn't massage it, don't do what I do. If it's bleeding, pussing, scabbing, I don't work on it. Sorry.
Both of us.
Right,
You just hit all the major words.
if you don't feel comfortable, like if someone comes in with like a red swollen knee, like you need to go to a doctor.
Right.
Like don't come to me. I had a guy ask me, like he broke his hand. I'm like, dude, you need to go to the hospital, man. Like why are you coming here?
What are we doing?
Right. Oh, goodness. All right. So I'm like trying to get all those words out of my head.
All
So we're going to go to break, and when we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio.
I'm in clinical mode.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, Bolts Legal. Fear no storm with boltslegal.com. Crazy Muscle Nutrition located off 436 in Castleberry. Imbalanced Bodywork in Lake Mary. Derrick Brantley is ready to help take your pain away. 407-801-8502. Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business. ForgeITConsulting.com. So there we go. So we're actually here with Derrick Brantley. And while we were on break, I was talking to him about, we are in our last segment, so I always ask the guests, like, what can we hit on in this last segment? And so what we were talking about a little bit is some partnerships or collaborations with other healthcare professionals. And in networking world, we call that, I think, networking spheres or your power circle. So what are some of the other healthcare professions that you work with, and how does that work?
Yeah, I think chiropractors are my number one. Every chiropractic office should have a therapist like me, because they adjust a lot easier. You know, I've had chiropractors send people to me. I'm really looking to make relationships with chiropractors so I can have people that I hire and train in their office so that you see me and then you walk down the hall and get an adjustment. I actually had a client text me during our break, you know, trying to coordinate it with her chiro because they adjust easier, and the chiropractor's like, yeah, it makes their job easy.
Does it take a little while? Do most chiropractors know what your business is? Or do you have to basically teach them and get
the
them
technique? There's a lots of different. Bodywork is a very vague term. There's a lot of different techniques that are effective about what I do specifically, not so much. And most chiropractors and other practitioners, they don't do what I do. They have a whole waiting room full of patients that need adjusting. I'd rather just have you do it. You know, same thing with PTs. They're doing exercise modalities, which are very necessary, but they're not going to do. But before you do anything, you got to get them out of pain. You know, it's like I get them out of pain, and then you can adjust them, and then because they're not. I was talking to a PT this morning. And it's like I can't. I was telling him about my hip guy. He's like, I can't do anything for him. He's in horrible pain. I can't do PT.
That's the bone on bone guy,
the
right?
bone on bone. Like he has to get out of pain before I can really do anything for him to help.
So they come see you. You get them out of pain. Then they will go see the chiropractor or the physical therapist.
Correct.
In that order. You mentioned Dr. J. She was on the show. She works a lot with small children. Do you have a specific program, or do you stay clear?
Sometimes, I mean, I have kids with growing pains. It's more like middle school, high school kids. There's very rare that an infant or it does. There's colicky babies, things like.
You can help with colic.
Yeah, like if they
cry a lot. Oh my gosh, my mom would have loved that information, because I was colicky, and then stories of her staying up crying along with me.
Oh,
I'll never.
I don't even know what colic is.
Nerve entrapment. Just they'll cry a lot. Sometimes it's like nerve entrapments back here. They'll get headaches. You know, it's not common. But
that's what colic is. I thought it was like, I don't know, like some sort of skin problem or something.
Oh, no, it's like I thought it also was like a digestion thing too. I don't know. I just know it makes babies cry all the time.
All the time, yeah. So it's just colicky babies. But, it's mainly like little kids with growing pains. I see that, or sports. I don't see kids too often, but they do come in sometimes.
And so, like when I mentioned the networking spheres, so you have chiropractors, physical therapists, and what are some of the other ones that you work with? You actually mentioned mental health
psychologists.
Yeah, some. I refer to them if I know it's an issue that needs more mental counseling. Acupuncturists are great.
Okay,
I refer
that's a
to them.
good one.
Other massage therapists.
Well, aren't acupuncturists for acute pain as well? So you guys can
Both.
work in conjunction with each other?
Yeah, there's some things I can't treat, like gout. I can't help you with that. That's diet and acupuncture. Go see acupuncturist.
So if somebody has gout, then acupuncture can help?
Acupuncture can help, yeah. That's one of those things. I'm sorry, I can't help you. I can't.
I don't know what gout is.
It's
either.
uric acid crystals in your joints. It's usually activated by alcohol, high purine foods, red meat.
Is that what you get when you come up from scuba diving too quick?
That's the bends. That's nitrogen in your
bloodstream.
bloodstream.
I had it.
Yeah, you have to go into they send you into a tank for that to the atmosphere pressure down. But that's acupuncture is great. Other massage therapists are great too, because I invite them to my office. They themselves come see me. Like, I don't do what you do. All of my clients can walk out of my office with your card. I don't do massage. I'm not going to waste their money. There's not a drop of lotion in my office. Here's a card, and they're happy because they know I'm not a threat.
I can see where that's probably where the biggest problem is like, who are you and why are you here? And you don't, you know what I mean? you have to kind of carve out your own place because there isn't one carved out yet.
Carving out my place, and I make friends, I make enemies. There's a lot of chiros, physios, and massage therapists that don't like me. That's fine.
But why? On what premise? Because they just don't understand, right?
A little threatened.
Right.
They go to said person for 10 sessions, and they come to me, and I fix it in 2. Or they've been going to someone. I've had people say, "Hey, I don't go to this practitioner anymore because you're helping me more." So I wouldn't say I'm stealing their clients, but they just prefer to come to me.
But I hope they don't try to discredit it because that's just terrible if they try to do something like that.
They do. Every industry has people that can be a little.
Yeah, but I mean, it's easy to rebut that with your reviews and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
If you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong.
I agree with that. That's a very, very true statement.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about a little bit, like I said, what do you see going on in the next 5 years? You mentioned bringing some people on, and you mentioned that you do have one brick and mortar. Are you looking at doing multiple locations?
Yes, I'm in a salon suite right now. I rent a room, so I can rent multiple rooms out of there. It's nice to.
Where's it at again?
It's in Lake Mary, off Lake Mary Boulevard. So I can rent a couple of rooms. I can have 2 people in each room.
Is it over by the dance studio off of Lake Mary Boulevard?
Yes, it's by the Panera.
Is it where the Kava Culture is, where we met to do the 1-to-1 that time?
Up the road, about a half a mile up the road towards
That's
the highway.
I mean, that's a good location.
Yeah.
I can't remember, has it got good parking or no?
It's not bad. Yeah, so it's good, and it's a place I can build out when I have enough clientele, and I can buy a building and then figure out.
I like that. He's inspiring to buy a building.
I have it planned. Like you know where you want to be, but how do you get from A to Z? It's just each letter is an obstacle, so I know where I want to be. I just got to get there.
Other than BNI, have you done any other networking groups or events?
I've done events.
What kind of
5Ks are good. Races,
Yeah,
I bring a table. Health fairs, I've done a few of those. Stuff like this. That's good.
Do you, in order to do that though, do you have to fill out? I mean, there's got to be some insurance or some.
Well, just some 5Ks are happy just to have you there, so they'll basically, please, like we need vendors, and some you might pay $100 or something, like a vendor spot.
Well, I just think if you're actually putting your hands on somebody while you're there, there's got to be you have to have like hardcore insurance or something, don't you?
I have liability to legally have a license. I have to have liability insurance. So, if I drop a vase, I can cover it.
Don't drop a vase. Okay.
That was actually a story in massage school. A lady that was at a client's house doing massage, and she broke a $5,000 vase, and her insurance paid for it. But if I ding your car when I pull my table out or something,
right?
Yeah, my insurance paid for it.
Right. I didn't even think about that.
I don't tell people that.
Go to other people's houses. I don't know. It's just about being in somebody else's space would kind of creep me out. You know what I mean? Because that's like your space.
I don't like going to people's homes. I get asked every once in a while. Like I prefer to have an office.
Are you waving at somebody?
Yeah, somebody just looked in.
That's cool. No, I think that BNI honestly has been, I would venture to say, one of your best sources of referrals, right?
It is. I joined our chapter for our chiropractor because some chiropractors blow me off.
Well, we all love Dr. J.
Yeah, she's great. She hugged me because she was the only health and wellness person for a while. And she's like, somebody else. And because I went to another chapter and the chiro offered me a job like for $13 an hour or whatever it was.
Oh God!
I told him,
wait a second.
I told him I'm more interested in buying your business than I am working for you. So
I love that.
Don't.
So you guys aren't friends?
No, we're not friends.
Right. Well, and you also have an organization that you put together, right?
Yeah, it's great. And we have a good chapter and a decent health and wellness sphere. That's one of the hardest spheres in BNI to build is health and wellness. It's usually 10% of every chapter, but I do get referrals. And so I've met some good connections. I met you guys through BNI, so it helps.
Yeah, that's right. But you also have was it a Facebook group or something that you put together that has you bring them all together, right?
I had a WhatsApp group page, and it's hard to keep up with everybody, but just all the health and wellness people, because I'm the one that actually goes to the cross chapter, and I send at least one cross chapter for every week.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, especially for your industry. Well, we're actually coming towards the end of the show, so give everybody all your contact information so they can reach out to you.
Yeah, sure. So the website is enbalance.com, and the phone number is 407-801-8502. Feel free to text if you have questions. Texting is great. I'm happy to text. It makes my business easier.
And the Lake Mary address?
Lake Mary is 3801 West Lake Mary Boulevard. It's the Phoenix Salon Building.
Nice. Melissa?
And you can find me at strikingbrand.com, or you can email me, melissa@strikingbrand.com.
And I am Angela, and you can reach me at Angela@BaaD Radio. A huge thank you to our sponsors, and thank you for tuning in, everyone. Have a wonderful week.